Hello everybody, I am Perfectly Penguin and we're back with part 2 of the Scratch shopping interface, and I am going to be showing you how to improve it from what we had last time. So now, I will say that I've already done some stuff behind camera, and what it is my item sprite. What I did was I went into costumes and made some more, but I didn't add any items. So see this balloon? All I did was create a new sprite of it that had it, and then its price on top of it. And what the goal is with this is to get it where when the mouse goes on top of the icon, it will switch to that to make it look like that it's telling us the price, which is what it will do. So if you're wondering how I did this, all I did was I copied a sprite, then I made everything 75% darker. So for example, this green, it was 100 brightness, but now here it is 75 brightness. So I took off 25 of that. So that's basically it, and then I just put on top of it the word or the letters, and then CC stands for Crazy Cash, but you can change it to whatever it is for you. So I did that with flag and jar. Now here's something very important. Obviously you can't have it the same name, costume name, so you need to put something on the back of it. I put price, so now these sprites are called balloon price, flag price, jar price, but what you need to do is you need to keep this part right after it the same, the exact same. It cannot be different, or else the code we are going to put in will not be making sense. So once you have those made, go back to your code and go down to the when I start as clone. So what it has is switch costume to item number, show, repeat until shopping equals 0. That's all good, but see this where it says if touching mouse pointer and mouse down? Well, really what we want now is we want to have an if-else block and put it around this, okay? And now we want to take touching mouse pointer and mouse down, put the mouse down back where it was, but in the if-else loop, put in touching mouse pointer. Now we will go into switch costume to, then we will go into operators, join, okay? And then we want to get costume name. Make sure that this does not say number but name. And then whatever you put on the back of those sprite names or costume names. So since I had put balloon price, flag price, that's what I put here. But if I were to have put something else like 2, I'd just put 2. But I used price, so that's what I'm going to put, and that's what you should do too. So now I'm going to put that in the if part of the if-else loop above the if mouse down. So now this says that if it is touching mouse pointer, it will switch costume to costume name price, join costume name price. So balloon will switch to balloon price. So now let's go down to the else part of this statement, and we will say switch costume to item number, and that will switch the costume to the costume number of item number, which is an independent, which is a, what would you call it? You would call it a this sprite only variable. So there we go. Now let's see how this works. So I'm opening the shop. Well, that's weird. Look at what I'm buying. I'm not buying balloon. I'm buying balloon price. See, that's not what we want. So we have to adjust it to where we aren't buying balloon price, we're buying a balloon. So I'm going to put that back there, and now let's modify our script. So we want to go to inside this if mouse down and then we want to go if not item price, or not, if not item number of prices greater than crazy cash, where it says add costume name to inventory. Well, we want to do this. We want to go into costume, switch costume number to item number, which is the same thing we did down there. Now we put it right here. And what we're going to do now is add one more block, which is switch costume to, and then it's basically the exact same thing right here. Join costume name and then price, or whatever you put in the end of your sprite's costume's name. So I will just go ahead and do that, put in join price, costume name price. So now let's see how this works out. Okay, so I am starting it up. I'm buying my balloon. I bought my balloon, and as you can see, because of what we did, we don't see it flash. We don't see it flash to its normal sprite, even though our mouse is touching it. But if we were to see this wait until not touching mouse pointer and mouse down block, well, if we were to do this, okay, then if our mouse is down, then, well, we wouldn't see that costume. So that's why we want this to be above the wait until block. So now, there we go. It tells us the price this way, because if I just shared this game and someone were to come along, they would have no idea how much the prices were, so they would not know. But now they do. Now we're going to add another sprite, and we're going to call it text, or yes, just call it text. That's what I'm going to do. And what this sprite is going to do is it is going to alert us that we bought something. So I'm going to move the inventory list up like that. And now I'm going to create my sprite. Okay, so I have finished, and notice how everything, all the costume names are called the same as their item. So they say, and make sure that it matches up, like obviously the balloon costume wants to say you just bought a balloon, and then flag wants to say you bought a flag, jar wants to say you bought a jar, and then I did the prices, so that stuff matches up. And now I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to say go to back layer, because I don't know if it matters, but I don't want it getting in front of anything. So I'm going to do it, or when green flag clicked, I'm going to do hide after one green flag clicked. And then I'm going to put that right in front of it. And then I'm going to go make a new message. So I'm going to do when I receive new message, and I'm calling the message buy. But you can call it, like, I don't know, add to inventory or purchase or something like that. But I'm just going to call it buy. So when I receive buy, hide, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do show right under it. I'm going to do hide again. Now this might seem confusing, but don't worry, I'm adding more. I'm going to get a wait for so long. Let's just say, let's try 1.56 seconds. Wait, 1.56 seconds. Now we want to do switch costume right here. And what we want to do is we don't want to have it switch to balloon, costume, or jar. We want to go down to variables and go down to the list section. We want to go to item number of inventory, and we want to also get length of inventory. Put these two together and then put them in there. And now this is saying item length of inventory, and you're probably like, what in the world does this mean? Well, item length of inventory means that the last thing bought is the last thing in the inventory, so that's what it will tell you about. Now, if you're not sure what this means, let's say I have a balloon and a flag in my inventory and I buy a jar. Well, item length of inventory, 3, which would be the jar in this case, of inventory, so item 3 of inventory, it would switch the costume that, which would be jar, and then it would switch, and there we go, that's what we would have. So now, let's try it out. Why is it not happening? Well, that's because we need to go over here, and we need to put in broadcast by, and where should we put that in? You could put it down here, you could put it up here, but I'm going to put it right in front of the switch costume. Okay, so let's see how this works. You just bought a balloon for 10 crazy cash. Now let's say I buy a flag and then quickly buy a jar. Well, did you see what happened there? I bought something and then I bought another thing, and well, it didn't give it complete time to go away. So what we're gonna do to make it look like it's not just going like on top of each other, what we're going to do is we're going to wait 1 second right between the hide and switch costume, but we're not going to make it 1. We're going to make it 0.1. Let's make it 0.1 and see how this works. Now if I were to buy a jar, it goes away. If I were to buy a flag and then a jar, it goes away. Let's make it 0.75 to see how that would be. Okay. I think I like that. But as you can see, it waits a little too bit. So let's try that. I forgot to add that 0. 0.075. And now this is what we should have. Yeah, as you can see, it does a little flash and it goes away before it says the next thing. So I like that. And that's what I'm going to keep it as. And that's it for that. So now as you can see, when we hit that, it tells us what we bought. And now we don't actually need the inventory, so I'm going to turn the inventory off, but because it doesn't say what all you have in your inventory, you can keep it on. That is up to you. And now I'm going to make my final sprite here. So go into Paint and paint a new sprite and call it Shop Background. And what this does is it gives the shop a little background, nothing too fancy. And what it will do is it will close and open along with the shop. So let's go ahead and hit the shop open so we can see when we make it. So now what I've done is I've made a little shop background, and you can obviously make it longer depending on how big your shop is, but since mine's only 3, this is how long I'll make it. And now it says buy with crazy coins, and as you can see, I moved this shop variable, the shopping variable, and I made it go to the back layer, and that is what you will want to do. You don't want it to appear over your shopping icons. So now I'm going to go ahead and do when green flag clicked. I'm going to put forever, go to back layer. Now I'm going to do another when green flag clicked forever. So have this, and now have an if-else statement inside of that forever loop. Go down to get an equals block, put in if blank equals 1. Now the variable we are going to use to fill in it right here is going to be shopping. Now since we're already progressed through this far, I'm just going to go ahead and hit that variable to close it where it's not showing anymore, because I don't think that it needs to be showing right now, because there's not really a reason we know when we're shopping or not. So now go to hit show and hide in looks. Don't put it in there though, that was a mistake. But you want show and hide. And now if shopping equals 1, which means you're shopping, hit show, and then else put hide. So this will now see this. Now when we close it, it's gone. When we open it, it's back. There we go. And that is what we wanted. This is going to be cool. We're going to make a new variable, time. Okay, so you can keep this up. Actually, I would keep it up so your view so you can tell. But I'm just gonna, and you can do it any variable you want. So I'm going all the way to here where it sets all this stuff to zip, and I'm gonna set time to day, but then I'm also gonna say set time to night. So I have that out, and now I'm gonna get an if-else loop or an if-else statement and put it on top of everything, not put everything in it, and set day in the if, set time to day, set time to night, then get an equal block and put it in there. Then I'm just going to make it 1, and then pick random 1 to 2. If pick random 1 to 2, it is day, else it is night. Now what we're going to do is, so what we're going to be doing here is it can get a little confusing. What we're going to do is we're going to keep the prices how they are. We're going to make it where the item of the shop, or the items for sale is changed, but the prices just stay the same. This will help us with coding because even though it's not there, it will help. So now that we have that, go if time equals night. Okay, so now that we have that, if time equals night, then the flag will be sold, but if it's day, it won't. So now we come into here and it's day. Why is the flag there? Why can we buy it? Well, what we need to do is see right here, this just creates it and it doesn't matter if an item is for sale or not. So how can we fix this? We need to use a new sprite, or not new sprite, sorry, but we need to use a new script. So we want to keep it where if shopping equals 1, wait until shopping equals 0, but we're going to do item blank in shop. And what this is going to be is help us locate where what item is in shop, or is in what place in the shop. So now I've just closed this out. Now that we have that, what we're going to do is I'm just going to take everything out right here except for those. And now I'm going to hit set item in shop to 0. Then I'm going to now I'm going to keep this where it says go to X negative 180, Y 90. And now I am going to hit repeat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do repeat length item, or repeat length of items for sale. So go down and get items for sale. So we have that. Now what we want in there is we want change item blank in shop by 1, not item ID. Make sure that when you, or not item number, but make sure that when you had item blank in shop, you did not make it for the sprite only. It needs to be global, or not global, sorry, not a global variable where it's like internet wide, but where it's just sprite wide. So not make it global, but where every sprite can access it, and it's not for for this sprite only. So now change item in shop by 1. Now switch costume to item blank in shop of items for sale. So this is what this will look like, because that sort of sounded confusing. So switch costume to item in shop. So when item in shop is 1, that would mean that we're switching to balloon, because that's item 1 in shop. Now if it's night, flag won't be there, so it's going to switch to jar instead. Now what we're going to do is, now we're using the item number, and the item number is set item number to costume number. So this means that, make sure it's costume number, not name, but costume number, and then create clone of myself. Now this means, this is helping the clones know what item to be. Sorry, not broadcast. Wrong thing. Create clone of myself. But this is telling the sprites what item to be, basically, not where to be. So, well, here, I'm going to explain it to you. And also make sure you put change X by 80 after this. I'm going to explain. So, now what this does is, so item in shop tells you what, or tells the sprite where to go in the shop. Like if it's day, it tells the jar to go here. Wait, hold on, what's happening? Why does it not work? I found it. So I forgot to make a simple little change right here where it says switch costume to item number in shop of items for sale. So I did that, that's on me. So now going back to explaining what the difference is in those two variables, is the item blank in shop tells the sprite where to be, if it needs to be in the number 2 slot or the number 3 slot, for example, the jar, or if it wants the flag to be there or not. But then the item number tells you what, or tells the sprite what costume to be and what price to sell for. And that is why we didn't want to actually include the price here, because as we see right here, when we take out the price, it still says item number of prices, so that is why we did not want to take that out. So now as you see, it's working, where during night it sells the flag, and during day, if I can get day to come up, it doesn't, and instead the jar takes the flag's place. So that's how it works. Thank you for watching this video. I'm Perfectly Penguin, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.